meeting to order. If you all please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call, please.
Chair Gutierrez,
Present.
Vice Chair Poikert,
Present.
Commissioner Gilbert,
Present.
Commissioner Espander,
Present.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Present.
all present, 2 vacancies.
Okay, do we have any requests to speak on anything not on the agenda?
Not tonight.
Okay, good. Next item on our agenda is Planning Commission meeting minutes. The first one is August 30th. Did we get a chance to review that?
Can we do all of them together? Or does it matter? I thought it was individual.
You can do them all together.
Okay, we're reviewing.
None of the members have an exception, they'll need to put that on the record.
Thank you.
Move to accept the Planning Commission meeting minutes for August 30th, September 27th, and February 7th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, first item on the agenda. This is gonna be the-
Good evening, Commissioners. Jason Hostage, Associate Planner, City of Rialto. Our first agenda item is a proposed Dollar Tree, master case number 2024-0003, conditional development permit number 2024-0002, and environmental assessment review number 2024-0005. Proposed location is 200 West Rialto Boulevard in the Rialto Square Shopping Center. Good elevations for a 16,391 square foot building. It's in the Rialto Boulevard specific plan and zone commercial pedestrian. We conducted the survey for location and separation, for the 1 mile required separation. There were 6 stores of this type in the city. The closest one is 1.04 miles.
God, that's already $3 trees.
From the proposed location. This project is exempt, California Environmental Quality Act, Class 1, Section 15301 for existing facilities. And the planning commission recommends, planning division recommends the planning commission determine the project is exempt in accordance with the categorical exemptions from CEQA 15301, and adopt a resolution to approve conditional development permit number 2024. Today we received 4 emails with letters opposed to this project, and in addition to the PowerPoint, we have a copy of each of those in front of you.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'm gonna open the public.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Real quick, we have some information from the fire marshal for the city that we're at over capacity in the room here today.
Okay.
So, if you don't mind, maybe we could take a recess and we could set up the TV outside. So a number of the audience can go outside and view it, the full hearings.
Okay. We're going to take a recess to address the fire marshal's concerns. Okay, so we're at recess. Thank you.
Yes, and Mr. Chairman, I would note that for any of the audience that ends up outside, we can come out and call their name if they have a speaker slip to
Okay.
give them the opportunity to come in and speak.
No problem.
And just for the audience, if your item is one of the other items on the calendar that's not this project.
Yeah, maybe we can do that
If you could
first.
excuse the room for the people interested in this project.
Will we be able to come back in?
Oh, yeah. So maybe if we do that, so we're doing the Dollar Tree item. So maybe if you're not on the Dollar Tree, you could step outside real quick, and then maybe we'll be able to keep the meeting moving without pausing. All right. Oh, there we go.
They'll just come and fill the seats for the hour.
Yeah. Okay, we'll go ahead and cancel the recess then. We'll let them take a seat.
Yeah,
You guys can
I
all
got-
take a seat now if you like.
I got us closing at 6:45, so.
7:30. Hold in to 7:30. All right. Okay, so good evening, folks. How you doing? So real quick, I'm going to say a few comments before we begin. I'm going to open the public comments, but two things I want to hit on. One, the authority and makeup of this commission. This commission is the Planning Commission. It is appointed by the City Council. We are not decision makers in relation to is it a good fit for the city or not. What we look at is, does it meet the requirements for the conditional development permit? You know, like a slight easement or a little less of trees or
Lighting.
or lighting or those types of things. But everyone's voice is important, and everyone we're here to listen to everyone. There is a 3 minute limit. Here's what I'm going to ask of you guys, and you can choose to follow it or not. I'd appreciate if you tried to. What we're trying to do is avoid the repetitive, exact same full 3 minutes. So if we have someone coming up, says a great comment, and you're right after that, and you echo exactly, say, I oppose this, and I agree on the points that this other person did, in addition to X, Y, and Z, it could help us move along, or if not, I'm committed. I'll be here till midnight if we need to, but I don't think we need to. As long as we just get a feeling for the room of who's opposed and who's not, and any concerns that may fall under the umbrella of the authority of this commission, that's what we want to try to get, okay? But in the end, you have every right to do your full 3 minutes, but I'm just trying to respect everybody's time. How's that sound? Okay, all right.
Okay.
So let's go and open the.
Mr.
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I think, once you open the public hearing, I would suggest that for the appropriate procedure, that the applicant be given the first opportunity to speak.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, okay.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and get the applicant first. Okay. Yeah, you know what? In the interest of time, if the form requires you to give your address, you don't need to say your address for the record for this particular meeting, so we can get through here. But go ahead, sir. Just your name's fine.
My name is William Mojica. I am the applicant. I've been working with Dollar Tree to get the CUP approved. And if it's okay, we can allow the Dollar Tree representative to speak directly to the application.
Okay. Let's go and come on up, sir.
All right. Thank you guys for hearing us out. And thanks for Jason and Paul and the planning department, been very helpful. You know, we've got 3 existing stores in this city, including plus a Family Dollar. This community has been great for us. If there's 100,000 people in the city of Rialto, 999,930 of them are very supportive. There's 70 or so that are gathered here today that are probably not. But our understanding is that we fall into the category, the discount category that requires a planning commission hearing to approve our use, which goes for Ross or 99-cent only or DD's or just about any other retailer who's actually doing stores right now. So our position is that this is our customers have spoken. They want us next to the Cardenas. They like the convenience. It's a lot of our customers walk, and although we have several stores in the community, they like stores closer to their house. So we're here. We appreciate your time, and we feel that we're entitled to open a business at this location. And we were given all indication by the planning department that that was going to be acceptable. So if you got questions for me, I'm happy to, if you want to know how many people we employ, what we do for the community, I'm happy to answer that. But I want to leave time for the others to
All right.
speak, because I know there's going to be a lot of people speaking.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. The owner, did you have any more comments or no? No more comments? You're good? I'm good. Okay, all right. All right, let's go and get the first request to speak. Sir? Oh, yeah, I'd love to hear what you have to say.
My name is Steve Lusker. My partner and I purchased the Rialto Shopping Center, I think in 1997. We've invested in the center. We built the Western Dental that was there. We leased the property. Just by way of background, the swap meet is leased to Mr. Kim. And we signed a lease in 2012 with Mr. Kim, a 5-year lease. Mr. Kim effectively, although he's collected rent, has paid us a fraction of what the lease called for. And so since 2017, when that lease expired, that property's been on the market for lease, looking for a tenant that A, would pay rent, and that would, one that the Cardenas markets would support. And it's been a long process, and finally, with the support of the Cardenas markets, Dollar Tree came to us and said we'd like to open a store there, which was, for us just a great thing. And I'm sympathetic to all the people who have occupied that space for years, but I haven't collected rent. I've collected a fraction of rent. There is no lease with Mr. Kim. He's on a month-to-month lease, which I am terminating. And whether or not, I'm hoping you approve the Dollar Tree, but whether you approve it or not, there will not be a swap meet there once I evict Mr. Kim. And to put it in perspective, the total rent that he's in arrears is over $1 million. So I've given him every opportunity to bring it current, and we've had many conversations. He comes to my office monthly in Los Angeles.
Who's Mr. Kim?
That's it.
Oh,
Sorry.
oh.
It is
Oh,
what
is
it
that him? Okay, all right, go ahead. Thank you, sir, appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. All right, let's go ahead and get the first.
Luis Mendoza?
Get the time started.
Okay. I'm gonna read a letter. This is about me. And says, Rialto, California, April the 3rd, 2024. To whom it might concern. Hello, my name is Luis Mendoza, and I have been at Summit for over 10 years. I have a computer repair service shop. If you authorize Dollar Tree, I do not have a plan B. Also, I have a daughter at college at Fresno State. So also, she will be in problems. This Summit have like 30 tenants, and some half of them have employees. So will be more than 30 families struggling with this issue. Please, support Rialto small business, support our business, support the honest people. You have the power to give us, working people, the opportunity to keep feeding our families. So please again, protect us. Do not authorize Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree is a good store. I have bought there sometimes. I'm sure they have more opportunities and money to put his business in other place. They have the economic power to do that. We do not. Please, do not make me homeless. Sincerely, Luis Mendoza. That's it.
Thank you. Next.
Jeff Grand?
You'll pass? Okay, the next one.
Jeff Foreman?
Okay, next.
Steve Gluskin?
Okay, next.
That's it.
That's all we have? Okay.
Wow.
Do we have a
Move to
motion?
close public hearing.
Second.
Any opposed? Do I have a motion to entertain?
Move to determine the project is exempt in accordance with the categorical exemption requirements of the California Environmental Act, that's CEQA, Section 15301, existing facilities, and adopt the attached resolution to approve conditional development permit number 2024-0002.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, next item on the agenda.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
It might be appropriate to clarify what the action was, if you'd like.
Okay, guys. So like we talked about earlier, we're not decision makers on what is a good fit for the city or not. We just follow the rules as set forth by the plans of the city. We appreciate everyone speaking up and bringing your signs. They're wonderful. But in reality, probably when this item goes before the city council, that's where those signs would come more into play, because those are the ones, the decision makers are going to determine if they don't want to agree with our recommendation. We're not the decision makers. We're basically here to see if it meets the criteria or not. We do have some opinions from time to time, and sometimes we misspeak and kind of say those opinions, but in reality, that's not our role. And so this item is done, and I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out today, but I would probably keep those signs and watch the agenda or get with the planning department to find out when it's going on this. It's not?
Yeah, because this was a conditional
Oh,
development permit.
okay.
It does not need to go to the city
doesn't.
council, so this would be a final
Yeah.
decision of
So
approval.
this is final decision, so you still could, though, you could, like I asked in the beginning of the meeting, anything not on the agenda requesting to speak, you guys are more than welcome to pull a request to speak at a city council meeting and share your concerns about this. That is your right, and you've elected them, so they hear you guys. Okay? So you're more than welcome to stay, but this item is concluded. Thank you. All right. Okay, so if you guys want to stay, then we're gonna have to set up TVs and maybe do a recess then, I guess, for the next group to come in. Okay, let's go ahead and do a recess real quick. Can we get the TV out there? Thank you. Thank you, guys. Yeah, we're finished. Is there a language barrier, maybe?
What?
Oh, maybe, okay. Maybe Corey, we can get the next group in then without having to do the...
I think they're just slow in understanding.
I got to understand that myself. I'm sorry, what? I got to understand that myself.
Jerry,
Yes, sir.
we're gonna have anybody speak to those that speak Spanish?
What's that, buddy?
It's one thing they gotta learn.
You're not gonna
Sometimes
need
they
to have
understand
that
better than
outside thing.
Then they
They're
say.
gonna exchange places here.
Okay. Hey, brother, I don't think we'll need the TV. You might want to tell them if they're swapping. Yeah, we'll be okay without it. Counselor, did my training pay off? On the rules and responsibility of this commission?
That's your target time. 7:50.
Okay, let's go on to the next item, please. They didn't hear my comments, though, on the repetitive. They stepped out and they gave us spiel. Go ahead.
All right. I'm sorry, give me 1 second. All right, mic test. Good evening, Chair, Planning Commissioners. So tonight, for your consideration, the next item on the agenda is a proposal from the applicant, Jose Cepeda. The project numbers for this one are Conditional Development Permit 2022-0014, PPD 2022-0016, and the Associated Environmental Review. So the site location for this project is located in the R3 zone. In the aerial here, you can kind of see what the surrounding development is, as well as the zones. So over on the west side of Lilac is where you have some of the single-family residential zones, and then a little more towards Willow. But everything surrounding this red site here, it's a half acre in size. Everything in the area to the north, south, east, and west is all similarly zoned in the R3 multifamily zone. And the general plan designation for this area is residential 21. So this next slide just kind of goes over the proposal. The applicant is proposing to redevelop the site. Currently, the site has a home with 2 other units on it, so there's a total of 3 units there. The owner is proposing to demolish all of the structures on the site and rebuild 6 individual structures. So although it's going to be one parcel, there's apartment rental units, they are going to be detached, similar to like a single-family dwelling, small lot. But that's the proposal. They will continue to have their access off of 3rd Street, and for fire lane access and turnaround purposes, circulation, they will have an access on McKinley. There's an alley back there that the fire will utilize. So the floor plans, they're all pretty much the same or similar. They're just kind of mirrored and flipped over. So you'll see here that the typical unit is 980 square feet, which meets the minimum for a 2-bedroom in the R3. The balcony as well, open space minimum is 60 feet. The porch is a plus there, it's additional, but they will have a privatized rear yard as well. There's a requirement for a 1-car garage space that is provided. The square footage of there varies. But there's an additional parking space for each unit as well that is not within a garage. So all of that requirements for parking as well are in the staff report. This site meets all of those requirements per the R3. This is a look at what the elevations would look like. So the applicant has come back with a couple different renditions to kind of incorporate some of the trims, window trims, shutters, exposed eaves, trellises, and things to kind of help it give a 360 architecture. And there's a little bit of a rendering there of what that might look like. This is just the landscaping, so you can kind of see, it'll highlight some of the open space or common open space areas where benches and other amenities will be planted or installed, as well as the planting along the perimeter and the frontage there as well. So there's going to be Knox box for the gate entrance, as well as the queuing, so that anybody will have space to get on site before they come up to any closed gate and not hanging halfway out into 3rd Street. That summarizes the project itself. This project is qualifies for a Class 32 under the infill section from the CEQA requirements. It is consistent with both the R3 designation zoning, the guidelines, and the general plans designation of residential 21, meeting those goals of 2-19 and 2-21. This project, as kind of mentioned before, will replace an underdeveloped site with the quality of dwelling units. The public hearing notices for this project were published in the newspaper as required by state law, and they were mailed out to all the property owners within 660 feet. We only had one phone call, I guess, from a Spanish speaker who just kind of wanted an explanation of what the notice was, so we kind of went over that with the young lady. And that's it. So staff has recommended the Planning Commission determine that the project is exempt from CEQA, as well as adopt the attached resolutions for the CDP and the precise plan of design. That is all I have for you as far as the presentation, but the applicant representative is here in case you have any questions for them as well.
All right. Go ahead and open the public hearing. Before I do that, I don't know if the larger group is for this item or the following, but I'll repeat the same thing I said to the other group. Everyone has an opportunity to speak who wants to speak for 3 minutes. To respect everyone's time, if you come up there and with the comments that you support have already been said, you can say, I agree 100%, I fully support this, and add a few more things if you want, so we can expedite it. If you don't want to do that, that's fine too. You're still entitled to your full 3 minutes, but just trying to make sure so we're not hearing the same thing over and over. Also, make sure, because we have so many people that may request to speak, make sure your address and where you live is on the form. I'm not going to have you, normally we'd have it repeated on the record here, but if it's on the document, we just want to expedite this meeting, so it's not a big deal. All right, we'll go and open it up. Do we have any requests to speak on this item? We'll have the applicant come up first, but we don't. The applicant, would you like to say anything on this? Where's the applicant at? Okay. Yeah. Oh, you're good? Okay. Being that there's no request to speak, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Any opposed? All right, all in favor? Have a motion to entertain?
Move to determine the project is categorically exempt from the California Environmental Equality Act, CEQA, pursuant to Section 15332 infill development projects, and to adopt the attached resolution Exhibit E and Resolution Exhibit F, approving conditional development permit number 2022-0014 and precise plan of design number 2022-0016, subject to the findings and conditions therein.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, next item, please. Thank you, sir.
All right, good evening, Chair and Commissioners. I'll be making the presentation here on the third public hearing item tonight. This is for the Pepper Avenue Planning Area 1 and Planning Area 10 project. Application filed by Newcastle Rialto Associates LLC. And the application file numbers for reference are tentative parcel map number 2023-0005, conditional development permit number 2022-0015, and then conditional development permit number 2023-0026 through 2023-0029, and then conditional development permit number 2023-0031, precise plan of design number 2022-0017, and lastly, environmental assessment review number 2022-0048. And so each of you should have a copy of this presentation in front of you. It's also on the screen for the audience. So this first slide is representative of the project site and its location. On the image there, it's the area inside that red boundary. It is comprised of 2 parcels of land that total approximately 14.29 acres in size, located at the southeast corner of Pepper Avenue and the 210 freeway. This is within the Pepper Avenue specific plan area, and this area comprises planning area 1 of the Pepper Avenue specific plan, which is approximately 2.64 acres in size, and planning area 10, which is 11.65 acres in size. As you can see from the aerial image here, the 210 freeway abuts the site to the north. There's vacant land in the city of San Bernardino immediately to the east. And then to the south, there's approximately 23 acres of land that is entitled and planned for the development of a 470,000 square foot industrial warehouse building that was approved by the city council in June of last year. And then to the west, across Pepper Avenue, several acres of vacant land that is planned for future commercial uses. The next slide, I just want to show the commission the land use makeup and the planning area makeup of this site. So as I mentioned, this site is comprised of planning area 1 and planning area 10. Planning area 1 is on the western portion of the site that fronts Pepper Avenue. It's that red area. It has a land use designation in the Pepper Avenue specific plan of community commercial. And then the rest of the site on the east end in the purple there, that's planning area 10, and that has a land use designation of light industrial. These areas were set as a part of the Pepper Avenue specific plan amendment that was approved by the city council last year. That formed planning area 10 and made the designation of it light industrial. As a part of that amendment and its subsequent EIR, planning area 1 was planned for up to 13,000 square feet of commercial uses, and planning area 10 was analyzed and planned for up to 250,185 square feet of industrial uses. So what the applicant proposes to do with the site is first subdivide it into 3 parcels. So from the 2 parcels it is today into 3 parcels, and then develop on those 3 parcels first a 224,566 square foot industrial warehouse building that will be situated solely on planning area 10, that 11.6 acre portion. And then also a 3,915 square foot restaurant building with drive-through service that'll be placed on a portion of planning area 1, the community commercial area of the site. And then also a vehicle fuel station that would be comprised of 6 fuel dispensers, a 4,042 square foot canopy, a 3,700 square foot convenience market, and a 1,458 square foot automated car wash that would be on the remaining portion of planning area 1. So next I'll just show you, this is the tentative parcel map. And so more specifically, as I mentioned, the applicant proposes to subdivide it into 3 parcels, but more specifically, parcel 1 will be 1.18 acres in size. That will comprise the northwest corner of the site. That's where the drive-through restaurant is proposed. Then parcel 2 is proposed to be 1.46 acres in size and will comprise the southwest portion of the project site. And then parcel 3 is proposed to be 11.65 acres in site. That'll be the east portion of the site. The Pepper Avenue specific plan does not have a minimum lot size requirement. So in essence, these 3 parcels meet the requirements of the Pepper Avenue specific plan. This next slide, this is the site plan proposed by the applicant. And so you can see the buildings that I mentioned on the east side there, what's referred to as building 1. That's where the industrial warehouse would be built. It would have its truck court there on the south side, fully enclosed. That would face the 470,000 square foot warehouse that's proposed to the, or entitled to the south of the project site. So you'd have essentially warehouse to warehouse there. That truck court will accommodate up to 90 trucks and trailers within it. Then there are parking areas all around the entire building that will have up to 215 parking spaces, which exceed the minimum number of parking spaces required. And then you can see the green indicating the landscaping that'll be planted all around the perimeter of the warehouse building and the perimeter of its parcel. Then just kind of moving on, you can see at the northwest corner there, the top left, the building designated Retail 1. That is what would be the drive-through restaurant. Again, it has its own parking field there on the east side of the building. The building is situated so that it would be close to the Pepper Avenue frontage. That parking area will have 50 parking spaces, which meets the parking requirement. And then it'll have a double drive-through lane that enters on the north side of the building and wraps around the west and south sides of the building and provides stacking for up to 11 vehicles from the entrance to the pickup window. And then lastly there, at the lower left, southwest area of the site is Retail 2. That's where the vehicle fuel station is. Those blue buildings, what says Retail 2, that's the convenience market. And then the car wash would be attached to it on the north side. And then that rectangle in the white area south of that, that's the gas canopy. And then that parking area, which is to the south and east of the building, will provide 32 parking spaces, which exceeds the minimum amount required for the vehicle fuel station. Access to this project will be provided from a new signalized intersection that you see there at the lower left corner of the site plan. That will have a 65-foot wide 4-lane driveway that will provide access to both this development and the development to the south. Next, just showing you some renderings. This is what the architectural design will look like. This particular image perspective is from the, we're looking southeast. So we're from basically the off-ramp, or excuse me, the on and eastbound on and off ramps there at Pepper and the 210 freeway. As you can see from this image, all three buildings, excuse me, will feature significant wall plane articulation in the form of projected wall panels, projected masses, varied roof forms. You can see various gable and hip roof forms and mansard around the gas canopy. The warehouse would be, its construction would consist of concrete tilt-up walls, and then also glazing accents and metal eyebrow accents. And then the both commercial buildings will feature stucco finishes, stone veneer accents, concrete tile roofing, canopy over the drive-through for the restaurant. And here's another perspective. This is if we're looking northeast. So we can see there at the entrance to the development, the gas station and the gas canopy. And then in the back, we can see the warehouse building and the truck court. And you see a little bit of the screen wall that will be around that truck court. And then one more perspective. This is from Pepper Avenue, almost at ground level for what a passing vehicle would see as far as abundant landscaping around the perimeter of the site. And then you've got the retail buildings along the frontage, and then the industrial building further at the rear. Next slide is the conceptual landscape plan. You can see some of that already on the rendering, but here you can also see it on a top-down plan. The proposed landscape coverage is 15.8%, which exceeds the minimum 10% requirement. So you can see that's coming from a 25-foot landscape setback that will be along the Pepper Avenue frontage, and then planters around the perimeter of the entire site, and then the perimeter of the buildings and throughout the parking areas. Next, I just want to kind of go into some of the specifics of the operation of the convenience market and the and the gas station, excuse me. No tenant has been identified yet for those operations. However, the convenience market will sell typical convenience type goods such as snacks, drinks, cigarettes, lottery, etc. But in addition to that, the applicant, one of the conditional development permits before the Planning Commission tonight is also to sell alcohol at the convenience market for off-site consumption. Specifically, the applicant will propose propose a Type 21 general liquor license for the sale of beer, wine, and distilled spirits. As a part of the review process for that, staff conducted a survey. Is there certain separation criteria for establishments that sell alcohol for off-site consumption? Specifically, their separation distances from schools, parks, and residential areas. There's this table in the staff report, but I've also placed it here in the presentation to show the commission that the project site exceeds those requirements for locating an alcohol selling establishment. So the nearest school is Frisbee Middle School, which is about 2,430 feet southwest of the site, which far exceeds the 1,000-foot requirement. And then the nearest park is Frisbee Park to the west, which is about 1,350 feet away, which exceeds the 500-foot minimum. And then the nearest residential areas are to the south and southwest, which are approximately 1,450 feet away. And then the last part of any type of convenience market, alcohol selling establishment is that the municipal code requires a submittal of a crime prevention plan. The applicant did prepare a crime prevention plan that included various measures that they would implement as far as enhanced site lighting, installation of security cameras, burglar alarms, etc. Locks on the refrigerators at night for prohibiting alcohol sales from 2 a.m. to 6 p.m. That crime prevention plan was reviewed and endorsed by Sergeant Palmer of the Rialto Police Department, and it is attached to your agenda report as well. So for the project as a whole, getting into some of the analyses that were done for this, now that I've completed or discussed the design and layout of it, there was a traffic impact analysis that was prepared by EPD Solutions that is attached to your agenda report for your review. The trip generation within that study estimates that the project will generate up to 155 daily truck trips. That would be from the industrial building. And then the project as a whole, the retail and the industrial building, will generate approximately 3,332 daily passenger car trips. Those are primarily coming from the gas station and the restaurant use. The traffic analysis also studied 7 intersections along Pepper Avenue. And all 7 of those intersections were determined to operate at an acceptable level of service under cumulative conditions with no need for additional mitigation beyond what is already planned for as a part of the Pepper Avenue specific plan. As a part of that, those planned improvements in the specific plan, developers are required to pay a fair share towards those. And the applicant's fair share will be approximately $365,642. That's slightly different than what was, I believe, initially put in the staff report. Just want to clarify, I think it said $355,000, so there's about a $10,000 difference in that final amount. There are also conditions of approval in the resolutions before you tonight that will prohibit truck trips from using Pepper Avenue south of the site. To avoid any of those residential sensitive areas to the south. So conditions of approval are in the resolutions that require all inbound and outbound trucks to use the segment of Pepper Avenue north of the site directly to and from the 210 freeway. One other item to go over is the applicant, as a part of this project, has proposed a $1 million voluntary contribution towards public safety and public facility needs. There is also a condition of approval in the resolution discussing that item too. Now, in terms of California Environmental Quality Act review, back in 2023, as a part of the Pepper Avenue specific plan amendment project by Howard Industrial Partners, there was a subsequent environmental impact report that was prepared for that project. That environmental impact report did analyze the project site before you tonight, did analyze the development, as I mentioned, up to 13,000 square feet of commercial uses on planning area 1 and up to about 250,000 square feet of industrial uses on planning area 10. There was no development yet specifically planned, but the EIR did analyze potential developments on those sites. Now, before the commission tonight, now that we have a specific development planned, the city had an addendum to the Pepper Avenue specific plan, subsequent environmental impact report prepared for this project. It basically compares what the specific project is to what was analyzed in the subsequent environmental impact report. The outcome of the addendum is that this project will not result in any new impacts that were not previously analyzed in the subsequent environmental impact report, nor will it cause any increase in the severity of any environmental impacts that were previously identified. And the potential impacts of the project would either be the same or less than those that were described in the subsequent environmental impact report. And I also add that the Planning Division did publish a public hearing notice for this item in the San Bernardino Sun newspaper and did mail out public hearing notices to all property owners within 1,000 foot of the project site. And then also this item did go to the Economic Development Committee on July 26, 2023, at which time the EDC expressed support for the project. And with that, staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt the attached resolutions before you tonight, approving the project. That concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions. The applicant also would like to provide their own presentation to the commission as well.
Okay, we'll go and open the public hearing. Have the applicant come up, please.
Just give me that cue up. So you just want to introduce yourself and then you just do
Okay, thank you. All right, good evening. My name is Courtney Wing, and I'm with the applicant Newcastle Partners. I want to take a moment before I begin to thank staff. The development process is really a collaboration between the city and the applicant, and we've worked for over 2 years to get us to our hearing tonight. So in particular, I want to thank Daniel Casey as well as Vince Giron for all of their efforts. So Newcastle Partners is a small commercial real estate development firm. We're based in Corona. We're family operated, and over the last 20 years of the company's history, we've specialized in Inland Empire developments. So I'll try not to repeat what Daniel's already mentioned, but I'm gonna just add some color from our perspective in the terms of the market and some of the things that we've been working on our side. So you'll see here the rendering as if you're driving southbound on Pepper Avenue, looking out your window kind of to the left-hand side. You'll see the retail as well as the industrial peeking out. We've been to multiple EDC meetings for this project, and I'm just gonna touch on our original EDC meeting, which was approximately 2 years ago. We did receive feedback to incorporate a portion of retail on our property. And so we've spent about 2 years really educating ourselves on the retail market in general in the city of Rialto and site specific in order to make good on that request from the city. So here's another aerial of the subject site. Again, the proposed project is consistent with the zoning. No variances or alterations of any kind are before you this evening. The project is currently vacant, and it does have a couple of unique site constraints that make certain developments unfeasible in this location. So one of which is the fault line. It runs through the southwest corner of the property, and there's also a Caltrans access control limit, which essentially means that Caltrans has control over about 80% of our frontage, and they will not allow a driveway. So there's only one driveway that will ever be allowed at the southbound kind of 20% of our property. And it just makes it difficult from an emergency services perspective and an intensity of use to only have one driveway. So it really limits what can be developed on this property. So I mentioned we've had a lot of time over the past 2 years to educate ourselves and speak to retail experts about this specific property. So this property is a transit-oriented retail site. So that's in contrast to what would be considered a destination retail site. So the type of retail users that are gonna be attracted to this specific property are gonna be interested in it primarily due to its proximity to the freeway and the on-off ramps. This specific property has been marketed as commercial since the 2017 specific plan was adopted, and there's been limited interest from users. We've been marketing the site for about a year now, And the interest that we've received have been from those transit-oriented uses, so gas stations, drive-throughs, and uses of that nature to really prove that this site is compatible with a specific type of retail. If you think of your more traditional retail uses, so like a sit-down restaurant or an anchor grocery store, they're going to want to be at a destination retail location such as Renaissance, and they're really going to wait until an opening or a vacancy at Renaissance is available to them rather than locate at this site just because it's not, it doesn't meet the needs that they have for their use. So here's another snapshot of the retail site plan. To the north is the drive-through. We reasonably expect this is gonna be a coffee shop type drive-through. And we have had interest from those users of that nature. To the south, on the southern portion, is the car wash, mini mart, and gas station combination. So you can think of kind of your typical Shell, Circle K, or maybe even more of a local kind of small grocer that operates those type of uses. In total, it's 13,000 square feet of commercial. So we are maxing out the amount of commercial on this site, and the uses will add to the local tax revenue. The second component is our proposed industrial building, which is about 225,000 square feet. It will be screened from the retail as well as about 250 new trees on site. The size of this building is considered in the smaller range of industrial buildings for this market. And other buildings that we've built in this size range have had tenants such as Profusion Cosmetics and TP Link. Those are tenants in buildings that we've built within the Inland Empire. And the buildings we build are your typical distribution use, but we don't accommodate for hazardous waste or cold storage or heavy logistics type uses. So going back to Profusion Cosmetics and kind of just an anecdote for this size range, what is interesting is that those type of users are more and more locating all their business lines or more of their business lines within the warehouse. So Profusion Cosmetics, for example, has their marketing and social media teams also within the warehouse. As Daniel mentioned, no trucks will be allowed south of our project on Pepper Avenue. We will be installing signage across the ingress and egress points to indicate strongly that there's no left turn out of the project site, which would be southbound on Pepper. Our project's about 400 feet away from the freeway on off ramps. We are immediately adjacent to the freeway, so it's important to just consider that you're coming immediately on and off the freeway into this project. You're not passing any residences, no sensitive receptors. It's quite a quick trip off and on the 210, and that's where 100% of the truck trips will be going to and from. We've also designed the warehouse with employee well-being in mind. I actually have a family member who works in a warehouse, and I've been consulting with her, just kind of given my unique position with a developer as to what are the main complaints that she hears from her colleagues and peers, one of which is availability of food during lunch breaks and things of that nature. So we are not only putting outlets on the exterior of the warehouse for food trucks to be able to come in, but we're also partnering with companies like Farmer's Fridge, which is essentially a vending machine, but with like salads and fresh options. And we also are designing a gym and a dining area within the office portion of the warehouse as well. So the proposed development is anticipated to add about 150 permanent jobs. We will be holding a job fair to attract local talent and try to hire residents from Rialto for the project. There will be, in addition to the 150 permanent jobs, 300 construction jobs, about 50% of which are union jobs. And the average hourly wage is $30 an hour with benefits on top of that as well. In addition, the development does have a number of sustainability features. So California is leading the charge in the electrification of heavy-duty vehicles. So by 2035, half of all trucks sold in California need to be zero emission. So we are building infrastructure for charging of electric trucks on our site of our warehouse. There will also be electric passenger vehicle chargers on the retail portion that are available to the public. And we also will have solar to offset the energy at the project. Okay, so as a part of tonight's hearing, the city did send out notices to all properties within 1,000 feet. That did not include any residences or sensitive uses. So we wanted to send out our own mailer, just basically soliciting feedback from residences. Within 1,500 feet, there was only about 10 residences, so we went to 2,000 feet and sent about 138 mailers out. We received 2 responses, one from the water district that owns a property adjacent to us, and one from a resident. And the resident was primarily concerned with truck noise and truck traffic on residential streets, so we went back and forth with him, just addressing kind of what we've spoken about tonight, and then additional measures, and I didn't include all of them here, but there's a variety of measures that we're going to use to enforce that trucks will not be able to go southbound on Pepper. So of course, again, it was important to note to the resident that we're immediately on and off the freeway. There's no residences on the path of travel, but we're also going to be implementing a requirement in our leases for tenants to use GPS and geofencing monitoring. So essentially, it's a GPS in the truck where if they go off the path of travel, so southbound on Pepper, it alerts the driver, and it also alerts the parent company. And then I'll mention we are paying our fair share. I know Daniel touched on that, but some of the items that those contributions go to are the on-off ramps at the 210 and Pepper Avenue. Of course, we're installing a new signal at the project driveway, and then repaving the front street frontage and a variety of other infrastructure improvements as well. And then lastly, as Daniel mentioned, we are contributing a voluntary amount of $1 million, and we're suggesting that goes towards the new police station headquarters. We like the connection of code enforcement being as a part of the police department, and again, trying to address truck traffic and enforcement and making sure that those services have what the resources they need to enforce truck compliance. So thank you. That concludes my presentation. I'm here with my project team if there's questions.
Thank you.
I have a question for you.
Yep.
You said that you have an alert system that'll notify you if there's a truck that's going south of the project, right?
Yes, we're going to require tenants to use that
What happens
technology.
when that same truck driver does it again? What do you do?
So that is something that we're going to work with tenants in terms of a enforcement policy. So, basically the parent company will be alerted, and they're going to mark down if a trucker is constantly veering off the path of travel, then it's kind of like a demerit. They're not going to, and it's also an alert that's annoying in your car that's glaring up that you're off of your
So
intended truck route.
these are mainly your trucks?
No, it's our tenant's truck, but we'll have a contract with them that they're required to install that technology.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Good. We need to get that for Target warehouse.
I have a question to ask you. I wasn't clear on when the trucks are coming in 210 on eastbound and they get off the freeway to come into the location. When they turn up under the freeway there, have you go change that on-ramp that goes east off of Pepper?
You're asking if we're going to change that on?
Yeah.
No. I believe the 2040 general plan has some improvements for those on off-ramps, but they're not going to be constructed as a part of our project.
So a couple of questions for you. That area has been identified with a tremendous amount of pollution. What type of removal of this pollution will your landscaping provide?
Can you clarify what pollution for our site specifically?
That area, yes.
And what
It
do
was identified under the EIR for Howard's project. It's in the,
I would probably defer to my CEQA consultant because we're not aware of any environmental remediation, and we do many, many studies throughout the course of, contracting with the property owner and things to make sure that we're not buying a site that needs environmental remediation. The only environmental remediation that I'm aware of is some asbestos that needs to be removed, but that's pretty standard. So I'll let her introduce myself, but this is a member of EPD Solutions team who prepared the addendum and CEQA documentation, so she may have additional information.
Good evening, members of the Planning Commission. My name is Megan Truman from EPD Solutions. I'm the environmental consultant for the proposed project. So I think what you're alluding to is that under the Howard Industrial Specific Plan Amendment and the subsequent EIR that was prepared for that project, it did identify certain air pollutants that would result from development of the entirety of the specific plan amendment. So in our analysis, what we're looking at is the comparison between what was analyzed for the site under the specific plan amendment and those pollutant levels versus the project's pollutant levels. In this case, we're actually reducing the potential emissions levels from what could be built on the site under the specific plan amendment. So we're not exceeding any SCA QMD thresholds as well. So impacts are less than significant in terms of air quality emissions.
so if I understand correctly, the landscaping that's providing there, even though there were pollutants that were extreme identified in Howard's plant, they're of no removal?
Yeah, so landscaping does provide some carbon sequestration and other associated benefits that can reduce emissions. Specifically, we didn't look at that in terms of mitigation because our levels are already less than significant.
Are you aware of the EIR areas that were identified for pollutants?
Yes, I helped prepare that subsequent EIR back in the day, and that did identify significant air quality impacts and health risk impacts, and in this case, the project would not result in those same air quality and health risk impacts, and all impacts would be below the threshold set by the air quality district.
All right. Are there hour restrictions on this warehouse?
I believe the city of Rialto has quiet hours, so I'm going to just defer that question to Daniel to confirm my understanding.
There are no conditions of approval in the resolution tonight that would specify the hours of operation. Title 9, Chapter 950, Noise Control of the Rialto Municipal Code does establish noise limits for all operations in the city of Rialto. Those are for sites that are within 1,000 feet of those sensitive uses that do require like restricted hours. And again, this site is over 1,000 feet from any sensitive use.
So can we restrict the hours as a planning commission? Establish them now rather than not have them just disappear?
I think the commission has the discretion to consider such a condition. I'm not sure how receptive the applicant would be to that. I think they're looking for the flexibility for a tenant. And so I would just remind that all operations will be conducted within the enclosed building. Obviously, there will be trucks that will drive in and out of the site, and obviously vehicles on Pepper Avenue that can drive 24 hours a day, regardless of the development. But I think it's something for the commission to discuss and consider. And but at the moment, there's no conditions of approval that would restrict hours of operation. There's no code that would require it.
Okay. I'll just get the first speaker. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Louis Lopez.
I got lucky. I'm first, so I'll save everybody some time. Good evening, Chair, Planning Commissioner, staff, and community. My name's Louis Lopez. I'm a business agent, and I'm for the Ironworkers Local 433. I'm here tonight to express our support for the project and ask for your full support. Building a project such as this one creates jobs and builds a stronger, better city from day one. The developer has committed to local hire. Our hiring hall is just 6.2 miles from here, so local hire from us will be implemented on this. This will put hundreds of men and women to work, earning fair wages and safeguarding our children and families' futures. A yes vote tonight shows us and the city of Rialto that you care about a positive development and a stronger future for everyone. I also sit on the Workforce Development Board for the County of San Bernardino, so up close I see a lot of the needs in many of our communities and many of the populations. I myself am a veteran, Marine Corps veteran, so I know coming back from Somalia, I know the anxiety of, okay, where am I going to get some traction? And for many of us in here with our apprenticeship programs, it's a great transition. And we welcome the men and women coming back from proudly serving our country in our apprenticeship program. Their military bearing, their leadership, it's just a great addition to ours. And we offer them a direct entry program to helmets to hard hats. Another population we work with is with the probation departments. Close knit with those officers and relying on them to identify some of their cases as far as who would benefit from an apprenticeship program like this. And we have many success stories and offering that population a career to move into with an apprenticeship program that really truly works in a mentorship for them. Also, foster care system. Many people, when I first got on the Workforce Development Board, I was surprised to see how many applicants are actually there up to the age of 25. And many of these applicants are just looking for a good setting, looking for a family. And many of us trades here, we identify each other with brothers and sisters. So what a great fit. Again, on behalf of the Ironworkers Local 433, I would encourage you and your full support for the Pepper Avenue project. Thank you. May God continue to bless San Bernardino County and the city of Rialto.
All right, next.
Robert Ramos.
Good evening. My name is Robert Ramos. I am with the Ironworkers Local 416, reinforcing. We are here tonight in support of this project and ask your support as well. The Pepper Avenue project will bring so much to the city of Rialto. Newcastle Partners has made a commitment to local hire. This is a guarantee that our children and families will be taken care of, have medical benefits, and a prosperous life ahead of them. Please support our community, our families, and the city of Rialto with the yes vote tonight. Thank you very much.
Next, please.
Jesse Suazo.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jesse Suazo. I'm a local carpenter, local 909. I live in the Fontana area, and I'm in full support of this project.
Thank you. Next.
Louis Young.
Good evening, Chairman. My name is Love Young. I'm out of local 783. I am a member like myself and depends on decisions like this very one tonight, so we can go to work. In Luna members, some who are in this room tonight depend on these very jobs to support their families and to attain the American dream. This developer has chosen to hire union contractors that pay mortgage-paying wages with pensions and health benefits. This project, if approved, will also help our families and to help approve the conditions of the cities.
This project checks all the boxes. Let's pass this project so we can put hardworking men and women to work. Thank you. God bless.
Selena Gonzalez.
Good evening, Planning Commission. I am here in full support. I am a Rialto resident, and I'm here alongside my union brothers, hoping to pass this project. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. Next.
Mark Reda.
Good evening, Planning Commission. I want to thank you guys for the opportunity in speaking in behalf of this project. My name is Mark Reda. I am a union carpenter and 12-year member of the Western State Regional Council of the Carpenters. I stand in solidarity with 6,000 members in San Bernardino County. I live in Rialto along with nearly 500 members of the Carpenters Union who also live within the area of this development. I'm here to express my support for the developer Newcastle. The developer has made a solid commitment to ensure that this project will support our local community, residents, member, and local skilled and trained construction workers and high school graduates with an opportunity of employment to not only build this project, but also to create good paying jobs for the local community after the construction phase is completed. I currently work real far from here. I drive Santa Clarita, wake up at 2 in the morning. It's about an hour and 30-minute drive. By the time I get out, it's 3 hours to get home. Live in Rialto. So something more local would mean a lot to me and my family. I get to spend more time with them, take my daughter to cheer practice, her high school in the city of Rialto. So just want to thank you guys and full support of this. Thank you.
Well, cheer, you definitely need a job. It's expensive. Don't want that. Next.
Julio Rubio.
Good evening, members of the Planning Commission. My name is Julio Rubio. I'm a 25-year member for the Western State Regional Council of the Carpenters. I've been on many projects, projects in Hollywood, projects here, projects there. It's awesome when you build something and you show your kids and saying, hey, I built that. How cool is that? So I'm in favor for this project here for the developers of the Newcastle. This developer has also is backing us up, is backing up the whole carpenters, iron workers, and electricians, and everybody else. And also, the Western State Regional Council of the Carpenters, our mission is to have to ensure that the construction done here in San Bernardino County is done with the highly trained professionalism workers and with the support and with the training, with the force of all the support that we have for this for the carpenters here. As carpenters, we take pride of everything we do, and what we do it right. We do it once and we do it right. Also, this will create will create good jobs, wages, and benefits, and also would help us for our retirement too. These projects will also help us with the retirement. And I hope you guys take in consideration of approving this project. And that was it. Thank you.
Zach Strasters.
Real quick, we'll take a 5-minute recess so we can go to get restroom break. Yeah. All right. Take a 5-minute break, guys. Let you go first.
What are we taking a recess?
if you're in support, because we're getting a little bit of repetitive on the stuff. I know you have prepared statements, but if you support it, simply that will acknowledge that we have one more in support of the project. Again, though, if you really want to say your whole prepared statement, that's fine too. But we're just trying to keep us moving. All right, let's go to the next one.
Zach Strosters.
One more time.
Zach Strosters.
Strauss.
All right, perfect. No, we thank you. We're in support of the project. Very helpful.
Okay, thank you. Next.
Joshua Campos.
Mr. Campos? Okay. Nice tie there.
Thank you. Yeah, we're in support of the project. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next.
Sergio Guevara.
Sergio?
Good evening, Commissioner. We're in here in support of the project.
All right, thank you, sir.
John Sisley.
Mr. Sicily.
My name is John Sisley, and I'm going to speak for a minute.
Yeah, go ahead.
I am a business agent for the plumbers, pipe fitters, and refrigeration for San Bernardino and Riverside counties. I'm a delegate to the Building Trades Commission, State of California, and I'm a delegate to the Inland Empire Labor Council. I grew up in Rialto. I lived over off McKinley Street by Lilac Park over there. I went to Eisenhower High School, which at the time was the only high school in town.
What year did you graduate?
I would have graduated in 1987. I joined the Army, and I wasn't an outstanding citizen in Rialto at that time.
Yeah.
And my parents were more than happy to have me join the Army, and I did join the Army, and away I went. I came back and raised 4 kids here.
Okay.
Now I have grandkids. That area, I drove past there tonight. It's been a while since I've been back and drove around and looked. Rialto's changed a lot. That area is a perfect place for a warehouse. And it's a perfect time because you have a great union agreement here with all the trades involved doing all their scopes of work. Not only that, we've got a chance to organize that warehouse once it's built. And we make that a good paying union job, which we're doing a lot of that these days. So I'd just like to say we're in support of the project, and we hope you approve it. Thank you.
Okay.
Jose Gerard.
Good evening, Planning Commission. In lieu of time, we are in full support of this, and we ask that you too. And more importantly, we want to get these little ones, instead of a meeting, to TV or something before they go to bed.
Yeah.
So that's why we come to these things, because it's so important to us. So thank these little ones.
Good. Next.
That was it.
That was it. Okay, we have one. I think John has a question. Do you have a question?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Go ahead, Dale.
Go ahead, Dale.
Yeah, the guy in the front row's got a standing up to tax fraud. What is that about? Nobody's come to the podium and talked about tax fraud.
Are we done with the agenda item? This is something different.
Oh, okay, okay.
Oh,
Then
okay.
we'll get to that later then. John, do you have a question on the item?
I want to clarify the notices. You sent them out to 2,000 feet.
So to all properties within 2,000 feet.
We've got a problem because a lot of the neighbors around there did not receive these notices.
We used a certified mailing company that use, their professional certified mailing company. So it did get sent out to all residences or property owners within 2,000 feet.
I'd also just remind that was a voluntary effort by the applicant, and then I'd also remind that the nearest residence is about almost 1,500 feet away. So that's why there's going to be less capture, even on a 2,000-foot radius.
We'll have to take a look at that, Daniel.
You wouldn't have recessed.
That's a voluntary effort by the applicant, something that they just went and did on their own. As far as the actual radius they did or not, it's not something required by the city.
We'll have to take a look at that, Daniel.
Okay. We
All
can
right.
ask the applicant if they can provide a copy. I'm sure they'll be more than happy to.
Okay. And could you clarify again on the hours, Daniel? We can or cannot take recommendation?
I would probably defer to the council on this. It's not a condition of approval incorporated into the resolutions before you tonight.
And it's not a requirement under the code. So you would have discretion to consider it. You would need to tie it to specific facts or impacts that you felt that you were addressing with that condition.
Well, I think the challenge is if the warehouse operates 24 hours a day, both loading and unloading, and the mitigations that might be required if there was a lot of noise or traffic, it's better to deal with it now than it is later. Do we have an avenue later on if it does create an issue for the residents?
Yes, absolutely. First, I would just remind that all the loading and unloading would occur inside the building, right? The truck's backing up to the dock door. No loading or unloading activities are allowed outside in the truck court. That said, I'll also remind the commission that the applicant is requesting that the commission approve a conditional development permit for this industrial building. And with that, there are certain conditions of approval in that conditional development permit that should the operation become a nuisance due to specific noise or traffic excesses, that the commission has the ability to bring this item back for an additional review, should there be a concern with the way it's operating. If for some reason there might be a concern it's operating out of compliance with the municipal code or with the provisions in the conditional development permit.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Move to close the public hearing.
Second. Any opposed? All right, okay, do you have a motion to entertain?
Move to adopt the attached resolution exhibits M through U, thereby adopting the addendum prepared for the project and approving tentative parcel map number 2023-0005, conditional development permit number 2022-0015, conditional development permit number 2023-0026 through 2023-0029, conditional development permit number 2023-0031, and precise plan of design number 2022-0017, subject to the findings and condition therein.
Second.
All in favor?
No.
Any opposed?
Yes.
Opposed, we have one opposed. Okay, so, everyone's aye except for John. Thank you.
Are they gonna tell us about the tax fraud?
Next item. Thank you, guys.
I don't have any more items. What do you have?
We have one more, right, to continue again? Yeah.
Oh.
We could do it after the meeting.
We have one more
We have one more item. We'll do it after. Yeah, we had the. Okay, fine.
So
Good evening, Chair, members of the Planning Commission. Paul Gonzalez, Community Development Manager. Before you tonight is a project that was previously continued from the March 6th Planning Commission meeting. It's
Okay, guys,
master
gotta keep
case
down for
number
it, please. Go ahead.
2022-003. It's for a requested extension of a site for enterprise. We talked to the applicant last week. There's some conditions of approval we're still going back and forth with regarding engineering. They asked to continue the item to May 1st.
Okay.
So we're requesting keep the item open, public hearing open, and continue to that date.
Okay.
What's the problem?
There's a few different conditions that we're going back and forth with the applicant. We're just trying to get clarification on them. So we've been working with the engineering department division to get these
Is May
things clarified.
1st a planning commission meeting?
Yes, it's the first Wednesday of the month.
I move to extend the conditional development permit 2022-0003 to May 1st, 2024 meeting.
Second.
Any opposed? All right. When is our next meeting scheduled?
The next meeting is scheduled for April 17th, but we don't foresee any items being scheduled on that date, so it would be canceled.
Okay, all right. So then so May 1st would be probably the next meeting? Okay. Correct. All right.
So the 17th will be canceled.
Yes. And that concludes my updates.
Oh, okay. Planning Commission comments? Or Mr. Gonzalez, do you have anything to add?
Happy belated Easter. Hopefully everybody had a nice, hopefully mostly dry Easter Sunday, and with your family. That's it. Thank you.
Same with you, buddy. Planning Commission comments?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All right, thank you. I would have had it if I didn't take a break.
Yep.
I'll be